20 years ago, the American passport was the #1 passport on planet Earth, right alongside Denmark and Finland. This week, it dropped to a tie for 10th. And somewhere out there is a headline writer who looked at that stat and got giddy because 20-year decline sounds like a sad breakup story. Something you'd say in divorce court, irreconcilable. But underneath the breakup headline, there's an actual story here. And it's way weirder and way more interesting than America bad now. The US passport actually didn't get worse at all. In 2006, it got you into 160 countries visa-free. Today, it's 180. That's more access than it's ever had in its entire history. So how do you go from first to tied for 10th while getting better? Because everyone else got better faster. That's it. And everyone else is still getting better, faster. There's your plot twist. It's a everyone else showed up to the gym while you were still binging Netflix kind of story. Malta was 11th in 2006, sitting outside the top 10 completely. Mid-pack. Nobody's talking about Malta. Now, Malta's tied for 5th. Poland jumped from 16th. Hungary from 19th. And then there's the UAE, which deserves its own documentary. We'll get to it. In 2006, the UAE passport got you into roughly 40 destinations. Today, it's close to 200. That's faster than a building going up in Dubai. That's like the passport equivalent of going from open mic to opening arenas. So the US didn't fall. It stood still-ish while a bunch of countries sprinted past us. That's a very sitting on a plateau type of problem. You didn't get worse, you just stopped being the thing everyone else had to catch up to. We're still deep within first world problems, literally. Now, the number that actually matters more than the 10th place headline is something to remember. Henley ranks passports in tiers. If 5 countries all have the exact same score, they tie. So when you hear the US is 10th, what that actually means, once you unpack the tiers, is 36 countries are ranked ahead of the US. 36. Not 9 countries, 36. That's the stat that should have made the headline. Okay, let's make this real. I don't love talking in abstractions when there's a very real example sitting right in front of us. Brazil. If you tried to hop down to Rio in 2024, no problem. Show up, stamp, you're in. Try that today and you're getting turned around at the gate. Because since April of last year, Americans need an e-visa to enter Brazil. And before anyone asks this in the comments, no, Brazil didn't wake up one day and decide Americans are untrustworthy. Brazil just got tired of the fact that Brazilians need a visa to go to the USA. So they said, fine, reciprocity, turnabout's fair play. You need paperwork too now. Canada and Australia got the same treatment. It's not personal. It's a bureaucratic tit for tat. And it's exactly the kind of thing that doesn't make the evening news, but absolutely ruins your morning if you find out at the checkout counter instead of, say, from a YouTube channel you subscribe to, hopefully. And this is happening more and more. As the US tightens up on other countries, they tighten back. That's what actually eats into your freedom, not theirs. Case in point, and this one I didn't just read a headline on, I read the bill. A senator from Ohio has introduced something called the Exclusive Citizenship Act. I read the whole thing, it's short, 4 pages, I recommend you read it. And here's some of the language, word for word. An individual may not be a citizen or national of the United States while simultaneously possessing any foreign citizenship. Translation. If this passes, you get 1 year to pick a single passport and give up the other, or the government does it for you automatically. And there's some real irony sitting right in the middle of this one. The senator himself immigrated from Colombia, where I am right now, and became a citizen at age 18, and then gave up his Colombian citizenship. So the guy writing the bill made his own choice about his own citizenship. And this bill would remove that same choice from everyone else going forward. I'm not editorializing, that's what the bill does. It's very simple. It's very basic. Realistically, this senator's probably just using shock to make a name for himself with a flashy headline bill, and it probably will be shot down in a courtroom or hopefully doesn't make it to the Supreme Court, but you never know anymore. But it still gets a committee. It still gets a vote. And whether or not it survives that, The fact that it's on the table at all is worth noticing. This is plainly a subtraction of your rights in broad daylight. Doesn't matter how good the odds are if it passes or fails. Track it. Know it exists. Henley doesn't just rank passport power. They cross-referenced it against the Global Peace Index. For most of those countries on top, those two are highly correlated. Makes sense, right? Singapore is number 1 for passport power and 8th for peace, just as long as you don't discard your chewing gum on the streets. Switzerland, Austria, Portugal, Canada, Japan, all the clusters from the top of both of those lists. Stable countries get trusted passports. Trusted passports come from stable countries. Nice and tidy, right? That makes sense. And then you've got the US and Israel sitting off to the side like weird kids at a dance that no one knows what to do with. The US is 10th for passport power and 134th for peace. Israel is 149th. That is an enormous gap. Granted, Switzerland is always neutral. That still is an enormous outlier. We have significant global economic and diplomatic leverage, bumping up right against, things are getting pretty tense over here, thanks for asking. Henley's own language was this, basically. Passport power is shaped by way more than how peaceful your country actually is. Translated out of report jargon means money and military and diplomatic weight can buy you mobility, even though stability is not your main headline export. If you're the person this is actually for, doing fine, wondering whether American was ever going to be the permanent, unlosable card in the design your life deck, I don't think the takeaway is panic. I don't think it's go get a second passport this week. I think the takeaway is smaller and a little more useful than that. Notice what assumptions about your mobility are actually still true, and which ones are left over from 20 years and nobody bothered to update the file. They didn't send us memos, but the floor moved. That's kind of the whole game of everything that we talk about on this channel. All this stuff that stopped being true while you were busy living your life, I decided to keep track of it. And now you know, and whether you find that it's important for you or not is, obviously your decision. Passport power is just one of those measurable versions of it because someone actually put a number on it. Henley. I do a weekly breakdown of mobility in my newsletter, A Texas Nomad. Sign up at atexasnomad.com. Link below. And these things are always changing, ever in flux, so if you've personally been ambushed by a surprise visa requirement at the airport, I'd like to know. Put it in the comments and we'll commiserate together. Maybe we can save someone else from going through the same. All right, that's it for this one. See you in the next one.